on the second part of the series. I am still talking about the socio-economic problems of women. This is the second part in this series. Today I shall be talking about more sensitive issues like female circumcisions and more. Women tend to have a cheerful disposition to life, but are weighed down by problems in their family. The whole idea about inequality, when looked at critically, one can see that women ought to have done things to rectify this a long time ago. My take on this is that if a woman is not happy about what is happening to her in her matrimonial home, and she feels that she cannot change it, she should at least correct that attitude in her son and not let him carry the same idea into his marriage. You can see the cheerfulness of women. The picture symbolizes mostly how women feel, and there is no reason why this should not be sustained every time, but the opposite applies. She is the one that will enforce this tradition on her daughter-in-law. This has not helped the cause of women. From the time history was written or passed from one generation to the next, women have always been made a second fiddle. I analyze the plight of women as follows. W. Women are seen to be the weaker sex that has to be tailored and guarded because they have less wisdom, according to what some people feel. They have less wisdom to share. Hence, they are stripped of their rights to human dignity, thereby making them wretched. But I see women as being wonderful and witty. Women are to obey without blinking an eye. They are taken as being obstinate and offensive, whereas it is obvious that they do not want to remain in obscurity. M. Women are managers of circumstances and will make marked differences out of meager situations, manufacturing what will make people marvel at their ingenuity. E. Women are naturally exploring and will go an extra mile to accommodate the men in their lives, but they are not given an equal share of power because they are made extraneous and tagged as a bundle of nerves when they are actually extroverts. N. Women are nature's necessity for completeness, and even though they have suffered a lot of neglect and taken as being nuisances by some, they still form the nerve that makes the world tick. Traditionally, women are looked upon as possession of women to be used for childbearing cleaning the house, making food, and literally at the becks and calls of their husbands. In Africa, an artist would marry many wives not because he loves them, but because he wants to propagate his work without him needing to pay them, because he is already providing for their needs, thereby getting cheap labor. These women will fight for the attention of the man, and each woman wants to be in the good record of the man. Hence, they all want to outdo each other. Usually, the first wife at a point in time becomes less relevant because there is the youngest wife who demands and gets the pampering of the husband. She, however, fails to realize that the same measure of relevance will be given to her when a new wife comes in and she is no longer the latest. None of these wives could ask for pay as the husband is the sole provider, and it is understood that what they do was their share to the upkeep of the family. But the woman was not entitled for pay except money for family upkeep. If she asked for money for her personal expenses, the man would scrutinize the request and could reject or only give something out of his generosity. She, on the other hand, would thank him and dared not complain even if the fund was not enough. In the old days, men married women so they could have many helping hands on the farm. After a day's work on the farm, the same woman who was busy on the farm alone with her husband would carry the firewood and things for dinner, while the husband only took the hoe and machete. He would walk in front of the woman and would keep urging her to keep up pace. This woman could be pregnant or could be carrying a toddler on her back. She was also expected to start dinner once they got home and perform her wifely duty if the man demanded for it. Matters concerning women regarding economy are controlled by men, and certain conformities are expected of the women. In some tribes in Africa, women are subjected to circumcision, and men from such areas will not want to marry an uncircumcised girl. What this circumcision does is to further reduce the rights of women, in that the sensitive part of the female organ is removed and the organ is sometimes mutilated. This procedure, when crudely done, results in different types of complications for the poor girl. She could have bladder infection, or worse, could result in her inability to have children. At the end of it all, her husband will abandon her and take on another wife. The reason for the procedure is that such women that are circumcised will not be promiscuous. On the other hand, males are circumcised to expose the very sensitive part of their organ. Hence, circumcision for women makes them not to enjoy sex to the fullest, thereby shortchanging what nature has made for them to enjoy. This procedure is done in the instance of men who made it to be part of the tradition because they want to marry innocent, quote unquote, innocent girls. For men to marry innocent girls, young girls are married off, some as early as 9 years, and their husband introduces them to sex at that early age, not minding that they are not anatomically, psychologically, or emotionally matured. On the other hand, one thing is that it's not understood is that a circumcised woman might even be worse because she might continue to look for fulfillment, hence become more promiscuous. If this same woman complains of unfulfillment to her husband, that is in a case where she even has a right of expression in her marriage, he feels that she must be having some coaching somewhere or must be comparing him with other men in her life, past or present. She cannot dictate when and how she wants to make love. These are all at the man's discretion. Emphasis are made on the female saving themselves until the wedding night, but the same is not expected of the male. In the old days, up to the early part of the 20th century, mothers instructed their daughters to maintain their chastity until the wedding night. During this era in Africa, on the night of the wedding, after the bride had been taken to her husband's house in the night, the family members of the bride waited nervously for the bride and groom to meet. A blood-stained white cloth will be brought out if the bride has not been deflowered. When such is presented, there is a lot of dancing and rejoicing by the bride's family. When such cannot be shown, the bride could be returned to her father's house in shame. Even if she was not sent back to her husband's house, she will be stigmatized. This is quite unfair because there is no such way to show the innocence of the husband. Moreover, the man that she slept with, for whom she was stigmatized, will perform the same ritual on his wedding night and expect to find his bride intact. What an injustice. After all, it takes two to tango. Nature itself is unfair to the female because once the hymen is broken, then it is assumed that the female had experienced sex before. But there is no way to tell an innocent man from an experienced man. She is therefore stigmatized and could be even blackmailed. On the other hand, the male is termed ladies' man and becomes the toast of his peers. Come to think of it, the men that are sleeping with, the girls that are sleeping with these men, are they not somebody's future wives? And are the men themselves going to claim innocence? It is highly hypocritical. Women need to become more focused on matters affecting them emotionally and not just accept norms of the society just on the face value. If you do not say I am, nobody will say thou art. This is the end of the second part. Your contribution is highly is going to be highly accepted, and till next Tuesday, thank you.